Good morning, students. Myself K. Lakshmi, Assistant Professor in the Department of SNH, Chevrolet Engineering College. Title: Free Electron Theory of Metals. Topic: Classical Free Electron Theory. In the last session, we discussed about what are the assumptions in a classical free electron theory and some definitions: mean free path, collision time, drift velocity, relaxation time, current density. And also we discuss expression for electrical conductivity. So electrical conductivity sigma is current density per unit electric field. Here current density is J. So current density J is also expressed as NeVd. Here N is called number of electrons and E is charge of electron. Vd is the drift velocity. So whenever we apply an electric field, actually this is the initial position of the charge carriers, but after application of external electric field, so this is the direction of the electric field. Now the negative charges move opposite to the field direction and the positive charges move towards the field direction. Due to movement of electrons, due to acceleration of electrons, they attain some velocity. That velocity is called drift velocity. Now here, by the application of external electric field, a Lorentz force is acted upon these charge carriers. So that Lorentz force is expressed as, so this is the Lorentz force. So this Lorentz force is expressed as F is equal to small e, capital E. But according to Newton's second law, F is equal to ma. By comparing these two equations, because these are expression for the force, by equating these two equations, ma is equal to small e into capital E. Now acceleration A is equal to small e capital E by m. But according to definition of acceleration, velocity by time, that is drift velocity by time. So that is Vd by dv. So here by cross multiplying here, we get a Vd expression as a into t. Now from equation 5, acceleration expression is small e capital E by m into t. So this is the Vd formula. Vd means drift velocity. Now J is equal to NeVd. From equation 1, J is also written as sigma E. Okay. Now substitute the J is equal to NeVd. Here Vd formula is small e capital E t by m. Here E is the charge of electron, capital E is the applied electric field, t is the relaxation time, m is the mass of the electron. Now this is the expression for the J and this is also expression for the J. By equating equation 8 and 9, we get a sigma expression as a n e square by m into t. Now by knowing the conductivity formula, sigma is equal to ne square t by m, the reciprocal of conductivity is nothing but resistivity. So in the same way, we can also write the expression for the resistivity. So before discussing about the resistivity, we have to know the definition of a mobility. So what is the mobility? Mobility is indicated by the letter mu. So mobility is drift velocity per unit electric field. So mobility is indicated by the letter mu. So mu is nothing but drift velocity per unit electric field. Here the drift velocity is Vd by E. Now, from this Vd expression, this is the Vd expression, small e, capital E, T by M. From this mobility expression Vd by E, so replace Vd by small e, capital E, T by M. Then mu expressed as mu is equal to small e, capital E, small t by M E. So here E and E are cancelled. So mu is expressed as Et by M. Now already we derive the expression for the conductivity, that is sigma is equal to Ne square T by M. From this expression, it is written as Et by M into E. Okay. Again, multiply here E, then we get finally Ne square T by M. But in place of Et by M, we can write mu. Then sigma expression is changed as a N mu E. So these are the expressions we also used in further chapters, that is semiconductors topic in conductivity of the semiconductors. So these are formulas you have to remember. So expression for the sigma in terms of mobility is N mu E. Okay. So as the reciprocal of conductivity is called resistivity. So the resistivity is expressed as 1 by Ne mu. So these are the some basic definitions and assumptions in classical free electron theory. And also we discussed the expression for the electrical conductivity sigma according to classical free electron theory. Now, what are the success of classical free electron theory? It successfully explains the Ohm's law. That means it verifies the Ohm's law. So what is Ohm's law? In metals, voltage is proportional to current, that is the Ohm's law. So it clearly verify the Ohm's law according to this classical free electron theory. And also it explains the electrical conductivities and thermal conductivities of the metals. Electrical conductivity is indicated by the letter sigma. Thermal conductivity is indicated by the letter K. So here thermal conductivity is indicated by the letter K. Electrical conductivity by sigma. So in metals, how the electrical conductivity and thermal conductivity are varying, it is clearly explained basing on classical free electron theory. And it derives a relation between this thermal conductivity and electrical conductivity by law, Weidmann-Franz law. So this is the Weidmann-Franz law. So what is the Weidmann-Franz law? K by sigma T is equal to constant. So simply, classical free electron theory gives the relation between thermal conductivity and electrical conductivity by Weidmann-Franz law, which is K by sigma T is equal to constant. So, and also it explains clearly about the optical properties of metal, like refractive index, their reflection, their absorption properties, like that. So these are the success of classical free electron theory. So it verifies Ohm's law. It explains the electrical and thermal conductivity of the metals, and it gives the relation between the electrical and thermal conductivity, and also explain the optical properties of metals. But still, there is some drawbacks in classical free electron theory. Let us discuss what are the drawbacks. Okay. This theory could not explain about the photoelectric effect, Compton effect, black body radiation, and also whatever the Weidmann formula, that is K by sigma T is equal to constant, but this is only applicable at high temperature. That means the ratio is not equal to constant at a low temperature. This is one of the drawback. And specific heat of metals could not determine accurately. And actually, according to classical free electron theory, specific heat of metals is 4.5 R. Here R is called universal gas constant, universal gas constant. But experimental value is 3R. Okay. Experimental value is 3R. And also, electronic specific heat value is from this theory 3 by 2R, but experimental value is 0.01R. That means as the theoretical value does not match with the experimental value, that is also one of the drawback of the classical free electron theory. And it could not give the explanation about the electrical conductivity, that is a sigma value for semiconductors and insulators. And also, ferromagnetism could not explain it. Ferromagnetism character is generally exhibited by metals, but this theory was failed to explain the ferromagnetic nature of metals. And the theoretical value of paramagnetic susceptibility, actually the susceptibility and permittivity, these are topics we discuss in magnetic properties, that is fifth unit. Okay, these 2 points you have to learn more, and that is clearly explained in magnetic properties chapter. Okay, so the theoretical value of paramagnetic susceptibility, actually susceptibility is indicated by the letter Xi. So here also the theoretical value is more as compared with the experimental value. So these are the drawbacks of classical free electron theory. So and the next concept is quantum free electron theory. This theory was developed by Sommerfeld in 1928, basing on principles of quantum mechanics. So these are the main assumptions in quantum free electron theory. So the assumptions are: free electrons in metals are move with a constant potential field. And these free electrons are nothing but valence electrons. That means the electrons present in the outermost orbit. So these free electrons obey the laws of quantum mechanics. And the energy of free electrons is quantized. And the energy of free electrons is quantized. Quantized is nothing but energy is expressed in terms of NH by 2 pi, NH by 2 pi. By varying the values of N, we get different energy levels. Okay. And the distribution of electrons in various energy levels is compulsory follow the Pauli's exclusion principle. And what are the attraction between lattice ions and electrons? And what are the repulsions between the electrons are also neglected, because as we already discussed in the classical free electron theory. So this is the nucleus of the one atom. This is the nucleus of another atom. Okay. Now these are the energy levels, respective energy levels. Now there is a free electron here. Here also there is a free electron. Due to random movement of this electron, it may be collide a neighboring electron, or it may be colliding the neighboring positive lattice ion. So due to same charge, there may be repulsion force is developed due to the different charge. There may be positive, attractive force will be developed. So here in this quantum mechanics, these attraction force or repulsion, both are neglected. Okay, this is very important. And here the energy is quantized. So energy expression is E is equal to N square H square by 8mL square. Okay, so these are the some assumptions in quantum mechanics. Now, this is very important concept. Actually, we discuss here in classical free electron theory also. Expression for the electrical conductivity on the basis of quantum free electron theory. When we apply some external electric field, okay, so this is the metal, this is the direction of the electric field. So automatically the negative charges are moved opposite to the field direction, that is opposite to the field direction. So whenever an electric field is applied, a force is acted upon it. That force is nothing but, already we discussed that, that is Lorentz force. Okay, Lorentz force. This Lorentz force is equal to small e into capital E. Now, it is also equal to rate of change of momentum. What is rate of change of momentum? Actually, momentum P expression is mass into velocity. Okay. If we derive on both sides, as the mass of the particle is constant, then dp by dt we can written as mass into dv by dt. So here mass is constant, it is not a variable, only velocity is variable. Okay. Therefore, m into what is dv by dt? Rate of change of velocity. That is nothing but acceleration. So dp by dt value is equal to mass into acceleration. Mass into acceleration is nothing but force. So Lorentz force is also equal to Newton's second law, force F. Okay. Force is also equal to dp by dt. So what is P? P is a momentum. Momentum is nothing but mass into velocity. Now taking differentiation on both sides with respect to time. Here m is mass of the electron, mass is constant. Then we get dv by dt. So what is dv by dt? Rate of change of velocity. So that is nothing but acceleration. So mass into acceleration is nothing but force. So dv by dt value is a force. Here small e capital E is also expression for the force, and dv by dt is also expression for the force. Okay, right. And next, momentum P is equal to h by lambda. Okay. So how we get P? Actually, P we can written as h cross k. Okay. So this is the wave vector k. K we can written as 2 pi by lambda. For example, divide with h and multiply with h. Okay. Now, here h by lambda is called P. H by lambda is called P. So, 2 pi by h we can written as h cross. Okay. So, k is equal to P by h cross. Okay. So, P is written as maybe h cross k also, or it may be written as P is written as h by lambda also. Okay. Now substitute here. So here this formula P is equal to h cross k. Substitute here P is equal to h cross k. Okay. Now small e, capital E. Differentiation of d by dt. P is equal to h cross, that is h cross k. So here h cross is constant. Just you write here. So h cross dk by dt. Now cross multiply all the values here. Then we get dk value small e, capital E, dt by h cross. As the collisions or imperfection, then dk is written as delta k. Here the delta k is called a small error in propagation vector, and dt is taken as a small t, that is average collision time. Then dt is written as delta k, that equal to small e, capital E by h cross. Here dt is replaced with the small t. Okay. Then this is the expression for the delta k. Okay, let it be equation 1. But we have momentum P is equal to mass into velocity. And also there is another formula, another expression for the momentum, that is h cross k. Now, by taking both sides as a functions in terms of del, so there is a small changes, small errors. So we get m is equal to m delta v equal to h cross delta k. Now cross multiply m, then small change, small increase in velocity, delta v is equal to h cross by m delta k. Now write h cross by m as it is. Already we find the delta k value, that is a small e, capital E, t by h cross. So here there is a cancellation h cross and h cross. Then we get delta v, small change in velocity, is small e, capital E, t by m. But as expression for j is equal to ne vd. So here replace the vd by delta v. Therefore, substitute the delta v formula here. Okay. Then ne delta v formula small e, that is ne delta v formula small e, capital E, t by m. Then we get n e square, capital E, t by m. But j expressed as in terms of conductivity as sigma into E. Okay. By comparing these two equations, that is n capital E T E square by M is equal to sigma E. Here E and E are cancelled. Then finally sigma expression is Ne square T by M. And also reciprocal of conductivity is called resistivity. So resistivity rho is equal to 1 by sigma, that is equal to M by Ne square T. So what are the explanations that successfully explain the quantum free electron theory? So let us discuss the success of quantum free electron theory. The specific heat behavior of metals is good agreement with the experimental value. Actually, in a classical free electron theory, experimental value is not equal to theoretical value. In case of specific heat, and also in electronic specific heat also. But quantum free electron theory, by taking different assumptions compared with the classical free electron theory, due to that reason, it successfully explained the specific heat behavior of metals. That is, it is good agreement with the experiment values also. And also, it explains about the electrical conductivity of metals and thermal conductivity of the metals also explained. It explains about the thermoionic emissions also. And it also explains the photoelectric effect, thermoelectric effect, black body radiation also. It explains the paramagnetic nature, paramagnetic susceptibility of the materials. But still, even though it successfully explains, it has some drawbacks. Then what are the drawbacks in quantum free electron theory? This theory could not explain how we differentiate the conductors, semiconductors, and insulators. And this theory explains that electrical conductivity is proportional to electron density, but it is satisfied only for monovalent elements. Monovalent atoms means valence electron having one valence electron. That means outermost orbit having one valence electron. So according to this theory, whatever the explanation, that is electrical conductivity, it is only satisfied for monovalent atoms, but it is not satisfied in case of divalent and trivalent. And this theory predicts the negative Hall coefficient by some metals like zinc, cadmium, barium. They exhibit positive Hall coefficient. What is Hall coefficient? That is a topic we discuss in semiconductors as a Hall effect. Actually, metals possess a positive Hall coefficient, but here some metals like zinc, cadmium, they exhibit a negative Hall coefficient. So what is the reason? It could not explain that. And also, Fermi electron model always predicts the spherical Fermi surface is often non-spherical. So it is also explained that. So these are the drawbacks in quantum free electron theory. After quantum free electron theory, next is band theory. So that is discussed in next chapter, that is band theory of solids. So before we discussing about the band theory of solids, we have some idea about Fermi-Dirac distribution function, density of states, and Fermi energy. Okay. Then what is the Fermi-Dirac distribution function? Actually, we have three types of distributions: Maxwell, Boltzmann, Fermi-Dirac, like that. But out of the distributions in our syllabus, we have only Fermi-Dirac distribution function. Then what is the Fermi-Dirac distribution function? It is explain, it gives the information, or it explains the chance how many electrons are in energy state for given energy. Okay. If for example, so we have a positive ion, that means the nucleus, and there are energy levels. So these are the positions of the electrons in these energy states. So it gives the information about the how many electrons, to find the electrons in the energy state of energy. So that is the importance of the Fermi-Dirac distribution function. It finds the electrons in the energy state. So how many electrons are there? How many if there is any chance are there? So it just a it is a statistical representation. So this chance is expressed in mathematics by probability concept. So Fermi-Dirac distribution function is just a probability function. That means the answer is in percentage. Okay. Then what is the Fermi-Dirac distribution function expression is? F of E is equal to 1 by 1 plus exponential of E minus EF by kVT. F of E is equal to 1 by 1 plus exponential E minus EF by kVT. Here, F of E is called Fermi-Dirac distribution function, and EF is called, the suffix there is EF, EF is called Fermi level, that is constant. So F of E is equal to 1 by 1 plus exponential of E minus EF by kV. Here kV is called Boltzmann constant, T is the temperature, EF is the Fermi energy level, and E is the energy state. Okay. So what is the Fermi energy level? Again, there is a definition. What is EF? What is Fermi energy level? So Fermi energy level is boundary energy level, which separates the filled energy states and empty energy states at 0 Kelvin. For example, we have energy levels like that. Okay. If there is, for example, if you take an oxygen as an example, so oxygen electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. Okay. So in first energy level, we have 2 electrons. Okay. In second energy level, we have 8 electrons. Okay, 8 electrons. And what about third energy level? It is empty. Okay. Then at 0 Kelvin, so the energy level, so this is the third energy level, which separates the filled energy level and empty energy levels. So automatically the third energy level is nothing but Fermi energy level. This is one example only. So for understanding the definition of Fermi energy level. So simply Fermi energy level means below all the energy levels are completely filled and above all the energy levels are completely empty. This is only applicable for at 0 Kelvin. At 0 Kelvin. Okay. So that is the Fermi energy level. So the energy of the highest filled state at 0 Kelvin is also called Fermi energy. And the energy level is known as Fermi level. So energy means it is expressed in a, for example, it is energy is expressed in a joules. Okay, energy is expressed in terms of joules. So energy is called Fermi energy level, and particular level is called, for example, third level. So that is called Fermi level, and it has some energy like some 1.0.03 joules like that. Okay, so that is the energy. Now, this is the figure. So these are the energy levels, for example. So we have positive ion core, that is nucleus, and these are the energy levels 1, 2, 3, 4, and like so on that. So exactly at this energy level, so this is the Fermi energy level, that is here. At this energy level, that means below all the energy levels are filled with electrons, and above energy levels are completely empty. Okay, so it is explained as a graphical here. Here we have two cases. At T is equal to 0 Kelvin, at T is equal to 0 Kelvin. So all the energy levels are completely filled. So completely filled, that means it is indicated by the expression F of E is equal to 1. So this is the Fermi energy level. So this is the Fermi energy level. Up to here, we have probability function. That means the chance is 100%. Okay. And above Fermi energy level, it is empty. So automatically the Fermi Dirac distribution function chance is 0%. So 100% in probability is expressed as a 1. 0% is expressed as a 0. Okay. So in Fermi Dirac distribution function, above the Fermi energy level, all the Fermi levels are empty. So empty means the probability function is written as 0. 0 means 0%. And below the Fermi energy level, all the energy levels are completely filled with electrons. Okay. That means there is 100% chance. So 100% is expressed as a 1. Actually, the probability values in mathematics, you have to know that values are lying between 1 and 0. Okay. 1 means 100% and 0 is 0%. Okay. So this is about the Fermi Dirac distribution function. And the next session we discuss about the how the Fermi Dirac distribution function varying with the temperature. Actually, still we discuss the Fermi Dirac distribution function at 0 Kelvin only. But as the temperature will be decreases or increases, what are the changes that is other than 0 Kelvin, how the Fermi function will be varied. So that is discussed in the further section. Okay. Thank you to all.